Triumph can occur in a flash of sinew. At hand, the Canadian Wrestling Championships.
Welcome to the 2001 Canadian Senior Wrestling Championships, coming to you from Simon Fraser University in beautiful Burnaby, British Columbia. Hello everyone, I'm Karen Larson. Well, there's no disputing the main headliner here. This is the home gym of Daniel Igali, the man who captured the hearts and imaginations of so many Canadians with his gold medal exploits at the Sydney Olympics. Igali will be under the spotlight again, defending his title at 69 kilograms. As for the women, well, look no further than Calgary's Christine Nordhagen. 5 times a world champion, 9 times a Canadian champion. Should she win again this year, she will be 10 for 10. There is much at stake for all the freestyle wrestlers. Win here and it's an automatic berth on the World Championship team, and that will be held later in September at Madison Square Garden in New York. Greco-Roman also on the schedule, so it will be a full event. And here to describe the action, Commonwealth Games gold medalist Chris Wilson and the CBC's Bruce Rainey. Fellas?
All right, thank you very much, Karen. I should point out right off the bat, not only is this man a 1994 Commonwealth gold medalist, a 1991 world silver medalist, but as of this weekend, a brand new member of the Canadian Amateur Wrestling Association Hall of Fame. Congratulations, partner.
Thank you. It's a nice honor.
Great honor indeed. And the guy who someday is destined to join you there is Daniel Igali. All eyes on him this weekend. What did his gold medal win in Sydney do for the profile of this sport in Canada?
The effect has been amazing. I mean, everybody knows about wrestling. Lots of people are talking about wrestling. Kids want to be just like Daniel. He's been doing a lot of wrestling clinics to promote the sport. They've got a great crowd for the national championships. It's done a lot.
Now, you might not know this, but Daniel Igali has not wrestled a competitive match since Sydney, a span of over 6 months. So what can we reasonably expect from him today?
Well, he took a little time off after Sydney, did the whole PR thing, went to Nigeria for 6 weeks, came back, was back into competition and training, had an injury, had to take some time off. So he's not in great shape now, but he's still strong enough to dominate this weight class.
Okay, we know what he can do on the mat. What caliber of wrestler is here this weekend besides Igali?
We have some great competitors. We have lots of world medalists in the women's division. Karen mentioned Christine Nordhagen. We got Jennifer Riz, Carol Wynn, Erica Sharp, all world medalists. And in the men's category, Gias Osuri, world silver medalist, Olympic silver medalist, and Justin Abdu, also Olympian. All
right, the cast is very strong here in Burnaby. We're looking forward to a great afternoon of wrestling. Here's a look at what you can expect to see over the next 90 minutes. They call it the oldest competitive sport in the world, Greco-Roman wrestling, the best men in Canada on the mat in a few moments' time. We'll give you a chance through the afternoon to meet the athletes who make up this great sport here in this country. We'll give you a chance to meet up close and personal Olympic gold medalist Daniel Igali, and he will be among many taking part in the men's freestyle finals a bit later on this afternoon. Now, if you're not 100% familiar with the sport of amateur wrestling, one of the key components is scoring. And essentially, points are awarded based on how well a wrestler gains control and then maintains control of his or her opponent. And with more of a breakdown, here's Chris.
The scoring system is loosely based on how close you get your opponent's shoulders to the mat. Usually the first point scored is a takedown. Here the blue wrestler's in on a single leg position. He takes his opponent to the mat. From here he'll try to turn him to his back. He does what's called an ankle lace, exposing his opponent's back to the mat. Scores 2 points for that. Another way of getting a takedown is by doing what's called a high crotch move. Here he's in on the leg again, takes him to the mat. As soon as the stomach or knees touch the mat, he scores 1 point. From here he does what's called a gut wrench again, exposing the shoulders to the mat, scoring 2 points once those shoulders pass 90 degrees. Another way of scoring points is by taking your opponent from your feet straight to the back. Here the blue wrestler does a hip toss, takes his opponent straight to the back. If he can touch both shoulder blades at the same time, it's a pin. And probably the most spectacular way of scoring points in wrestling, a throw of grand amplitude. Here the red wrestler gets behind, throws him over his head in an arcing position, scoring 5 points in the process. At the end of the match, both wrestlers shake hands like the true sportsmen they are, and that's how points are scored.
Thank you, Chris. The Greco-Roman finals are coming up next here on CBC Sports Saturday. Stay with us.
Finals. And Chris, what are the basic principles of Greco-Roman?
Well, you'll see a lot more upper body wrestling in Greco-Roman. You won't see the leg attacks like you see in freestyle because you're not allowed to grab the other person's legs. So it's all upper body, oriented towards throwing, and when at its best, you see a lot of exciting matches with a lot of throws.
Okay, Greco-Roman finals set now for the 58-kilogram category.
This one features Ron Boucher from the Thunder Bay Wolves Wrestling Club. He will be in the red.
and Saeed Azerbaijani from the Brock Wrestling Club in blue.
Well, Bruce Saeed is a very experienced wrestler, lots of experience in Greco-Roman and freestyle, very accomplished wrestler.
Saeed says his mental toughness is better than it's ever been. He was 4th at the Pan American Championships in Greco-Roman last year. 26 years old, born in Iran.
Here he does what's called a shoulder throw, takes his opponent to the mat, straight to his back, scores 3 points for that. And what you'll see in Greco-Roman, you'll see a lot of lifts here. Here he's trying to lift Boucher off the mat, again to expose his back. He'll be given 3 points for that.
1 point for the lift, 2 for exposing the back. Azerbaijani 6-0 early here in round number 1.
And again, because they can't be grabbing around the legs, you'll see him on the ground, either doing a lot of lifts or doing stuff from the front like that. Another 2 points for Azerbaijani. That's called the Gabori.
Keep in mind, a point differential of 10 is called technical superiority, and the match is normally scheduled for 2 3-minute rounds, but it will be stopped if one wrestler attains 10 more points than the other.
Well, and we're really seeing the skill and experience that Saeed has over Ron Boucher. Just playing with him here, throwing him again to his back, scores 3 points there. The referee allows him to try to pin his opponent before they stop the match. If Saeed can pin Boucher here, he'll win by fall. Not exactly sure why they stopped that, because usually they allow them to try to pin him, but that'll be the end of the match because Azerbaijani has more than 10 points.
Azerbaijani more experienced than the 21-year-old Ron Boucher, and he indeed is the winner of technical superiority. Final score here, 11-0. And Saeed Azerbaijani of the Brock Wrestling Club, your national champion in the 58-kilogram category, Greco-Roman. Our next matchup is in the 54-kilogram final. Mir Kirazada from the Hamilton Amateur Wrestling Club, he is in red, and Rene Harrison from the Club de Lutte Amateur Chaleur in Bathurst, he is in blue.
Well, and we see here both wrestlers are more in a very upright position. That's very common in Greco-Roman because, again, they don't have to defend against their legs. They're standing more upright. Rene has actually a lot more experience in Greco than Mir does. Mir is an old freestyle wrestler from when I was wrestling. So you'll see Rene stand a little bit higher, being a little bit more confident in this position.
Now, Kirazada hasn't trained as much in the past few years. He's been working to send money back to his extended family in Afghanistan. His prime years were from 1989 to 93. Rene Harrison, just 20 years old, he calls Bathurst home. Had a great junior career. He was both freestyle and Greco-Roman champion at this weight last year at the Junior Nationals.
Well, here you see Rene in a head and arm position, trying to control Mir, trying to pull him forward. Mir was doing a good job of countering by controlling that arm.
This is fairly typical of Greco-Roman, the feeling-out process.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of scoring early like you saw in Saeed's match there. That's a little bit uncommon. Usually it takes a minute or so for them to figure out, you know, how their opponent's going to defend them, how their opponent's stance affects them.
Now we hear the referee, Chris, calling for action. Let's explain passivity here.
Well, the referee wants both wrestlers to be active. Here they're saying that Mir wasn't being active enough. He gets called for passivity. Harrison gets his choice, whether he wants Mir to start in the down position like he's doing here or whether he wants to start in the up position. Normally they would choose the down position because it's a real advantage to be able to be on top here and try to score. But the emphasis is always on action. They don't want the wrestlers to be defensive. Here Harrison's going for gut wrench. He scores 2 points because he exposes Mir's back to the mat. That's more of a traditional sort of freestyle kind of gut wrench as opposed to more of a Greco-Roman style gut wrench when they lift usually.
They will head back to the middle. Harrison up now 2-0 over Mir Kirazada in red.
And if they go out of bounds in a control position like they did there, then they'll start back in the same position they ended. So here Harrison again is on top. He can go for a gut wrench again. Here he's going for a cross body lift. And it's very hard for Kirazada to counter here because he can't hold on to the legs. He'll get at least 3 points for that, possibly 5 points.
Yes, that is the throw of grand amplitude you explained earlier, a 5-point lift. He exposes the back again as well.
They give 5 points, plus they give 1 point for the lift because they started on the ground position. So that was 6 points in that one move right there.
8-0 here, which is 49 seconds left in round number 1. Should it go to round number 2, there are 2 3-minute rounds scheduled in this Greco-Roman final.
Harrison coming into this second part of the match here with a lot of confidence. Nice feeling being up 8-0. The referees are just discussing whether they should have given 5 there or if they should have given 3, I think.
Or maybe whether they should have awarded 2 more for the extra back exposure, and that is what they have done. Final here, 10-0. Pirazada a bit confused, but this goes into the books as a victory for Renee Harrison of Le Club de Lutte Amateur Chaleur in Bathurst, New Brunswick, your 54-kilogram champ. Now to the 63-kilogram Greco-Roman final. Nazir Lau from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club in red. Dan Stanton from the Bears Wrestling Club at the University of Alberta in blue.
Nazir, excellent wrestler in both freestyle and Greco-Roman. Concentrates mainly on freestyle, but he is quite confident in Greco-Roman also.
Nazir in red is 29 years old. Stanton in blue, 24. He has a BSc from the University of Alberta. Stanton, by the way, has only been wrestling for 4.5 years. He began in his 3rd year of university.
And sometimes we see that in Greco-Roman where some of the best wrestlers in freestyle don't compete in Greco-Roman. It gives a chance for some of the younger up-and-coming wrestlers to get some great experience and to shine at a national event like this. Nazir has what's called a 2-on-1. He's trying to control Stanton, trying to get him off balance so he can get in on the body.
Little fireman's carry
Nice
there.
little move there. The referee's giving 3 points because he went from his feet straight to his back, exposing the back as he threw him. From here again, he'll try to expose his back to the mat. Looks like he's going for a gut wrench. He gets shoulders over on the back. 2 more points. If he can lift him here, he'll get the extra 1 point for the lift. Nice little move there. It gets him over onto his back. If he can hold him for 5 seconds here, he gets an extra point for the exposure. Saw the referee counting with his hand there. Counting 1 point. He got the 2 points plus the extra point for exposure. 8-0.
Nazir Lau dominating here in round number 1. Dan Stanton looking to stem the tide.
Well, and this is where all that experience comes through again. Nazir scoring the 2 points on the gut wrench to win the match, 10-0.
Again, that is called a technical superiority. Nazir Lau, your champion in the 63-kilogram Greco-Roman category. He is from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club. And we will also see Nazir Lau later in the men's freestyle finals. A look now at other winners in Greco-Roman. Ainsley Robinson of Oshawa in the 69-kilogram category. Scott Seeley of Fredericton, the winner at 76. Victor Springer of Guelph at the 85-kilogram. Jamie Cox, 97 kg champ from Guelph, and Justin Beauparlant from Thunder Bay, Ontario, your winner at 130 kilograms. Coming up, the women take center stage here at Simon Fraser University. The freestyle finals are next.
2001 Canadian Senior Wrestling Championships. Well, Daniel Legally may be the poster boy for this sport in Canada, but our women more than hold their own. They are ranked 3rd internationally, and they are up next. Here's Chris and Bruce.
Thank you very much, Karen. Chris, perennially, Canadian women are at least among the top 3 in the world in women's wrestling. Why do you think that is?
You know, we've had women wrestling for quite a while. We've supported them from the very beginning, sent them to world championships, sent them to international competitions. In a lot of cases, we have scholarships for them, and that's made a big difference.
All right, the women are here and set to go. Let's get to our first women's freestyle final. It is in the 75-kilogram category. Ohenawa Akufo from Guelph in red, and Pam Wilson from the Hamilton Amateur Wrestling Club in blue. And Akufo, Chris, an up-and-comer in Canadian women's wrestling.
Well, anyway, here we go right away off the bat. 3 points, taking Wilson straight to her back. Ohenawa is an outstanding wrestler. Last year at the national championships, she was wrestling Christine Nordhagen when Christine went up to this higher weight class, was beating her 8-0. But Christine came back to win the match. Very solid wrestler, very exciting to watch.
Very powerful as well. She is giving Pam Wilson from Hamilton all she can handle here.
Well, here she has with chicken wing, gets Wilson onto her back. She's going for the fall. She can hold both shoulders on the mat at the same time. She gets the fall, yes.
And unlike professional wrestling where there's a 3 count, here it's just instantaneous contact.
That's right. If both shoulders touch the mat at the same time, the match is over. And that's exactly what she did.
33 seconds is all it took. Ohenawa Akufo from Guelph, your champion in the 75-kilogram category, and she's with Karen.
Well, short and sweet is the best way to sum that up, Ohenawa. That was over quick.
Thanks. It was just, I was out there focused, ready to go, and I wanted this. I tasted it. I came second last year, and this year I was like first all the way. So I wanted to go out there and just do what I know I do well, and I love the sport, so I just wanted to demonstrate what I knew and what I learned.
And you're off to Madison Square Garden in New York.
Love it. I deserve it. I worked hard, and you know what? I just had to show what I knew. Thanks to my great coaches and everybody that's helped me out there.
So Ohenawa Akufo, a name to watch in Canadian women's wrestling, and a chance now to meet another.
My older sister, she was into wrestling, and she and another one of her friends, they were two of the first girls on the Hazelton team. And I was kind of interested. I was more into basketball and volleyball, stuff like that. But finally I decided to try it in grade 10, and I just really liked it. I got into it, and I found that I was actually good at it, so I just decided to stick with it. It was great. I mean, I had gone to Worlds twice for juniors already, and both times I had come back with nothing, and it was a downer. And so being able to go back to senior Worlds and do so well and actually win matches, it was just a great feeling. It boosted my confidence quite a bit. I love it because it's such an individual sport. Everything you do, it's just you. There's no one else. I mean, sure, there's your coaches and your teammates who can help you out a little bit along the way, but once you're out on that mat, it's just you. Just you and your opponent. And it could be kind of an ego thing too. Not obviously an ego thing, but it's just, you're kind of defending yourself, you know. You're defending how good you are. You're trying to show everybody, you know, I'm skilled, I'm fast, I'm strong, and I have the stamina to do it. Well, hopefully wrestling will be in the Olympics for women. If that's the case, then I'm definitely going to stick with it and try to make it there. And I think that's my major goal for wrestling. But if wrestling doesn't get into the Olympics for women for the next Olympics, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to last. It's a pretty tough sport, so we'll have to see.
From the future to the present for Carol Wynn, she is up against Tanya Mayer from the Guelph Wrestling Club in this 46-kilogram women's freestyle final. We pick it up here with 1:37 to go in the first round. The score tied at 2.
Well, these are both excellent wrestlers, great technicians, very strong, very quick. It's very exciting to watch. Here Mayer's on top trying to score. Chicken wing, and Carol reversed her to her back, going for the pin. Mayer's slipping out of the grip here. Carol gets 2 points for the reversal because she takes her to her back, plus she gets the extra 1 point for holding Mayer's shoulders to the mat, or exposing the shoulders to the mat for 5 seconds.
As time ticks away here in round number 1, Wynn up 5-2 over Tanya Mayer.
Mayer just let herself get a little bit too off balance, a little bit too high on Carol. Carol was able to knock her over onto their back. Here Carol's going for a leg ride again. She's trying to get Mayer's back. It's close to the mat. She does. She gets her over. She gets 2 points. You see the referee counting. They're counting 5 seconds away. Again, if the back is exposed to the mat, it's 5 seconds. They get the extra points for the exposure.
Carol Wynn 8-2 here in round number 1.
Score now 8-2 for Carol.
Wynn says she considers herself a versatile wrestler. Fast, good technique, good strength. We're seeing all of that here in this sequence.
Well, this is a very tough position to get out of. Again, you see Carol scoring more points. Mayer got back to her stomach, and then Carol flipped her over onto her back again. Scored another 2 points, plus the extra point. The wrestler has to go back to the neutral position. And in that last case, the other referees didn't give the points because they didn't think that Mayer went back to neutral position.
Time ticking down in round number 1. 10-2 is the score after the first 3 minutes. 1:47 to go in round number 2 now. 10-3, Carol Wynn, the defending champion in this 46-kilogram weight class.
That beautiful duck under move. Again, excellent job. She got Mayer coming forward a bit, ducked under the arm, got behind for the takedown for 1 point, and again, she'll try to score by exposing Mayer's back to the mat.
Tanya Mayer looking to hang on here. Again, a 10-point differential in points is a technical superiority. And Carol Wynn is closing in on that here against Tanya Mayer.
Well, and it's really tough for Mayer to come back from the points scored when she was on the mat in the first period. Very difficult to get 6 points back like she lost there. Here we go, Garden. Carol in on a single leg takedown. Beautiful takedown, beautiful shot.
And in that sequence, 3 points, technical superiority for Carol Wynn over Tanya Mayer of the Guelph Wrestling Club. 14-3 is your final score. So it's Wynn from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club, your champion in the 46-kilogram category, and Carol Wynn is with Karen.
Well, here's a pun that will get old very quickly. Carol Wynn wins. Carol, you talked about how confident you were heading into this competition. Certainly that match proves the point.
That exceeded my expectations, but hey, you get what you get, right? It was great. She was pretty tough, but I just kept my head in the game, and I came out on top.
Back to the World Championships for you. You were a bronze medalist last year. What are you looking for this year?
Well, I hope to be in the medals again, but I don't know if I want to say anything yet. So I just hopefully better than a bronze.
Everyone stay tuned.
Thanks.
More women's freestyle action to come from Burnaby as the Canadian Wrestling Championships continue.
So we've seen some great action so far in the women's category. Again, this will probably be a very exciting match. Both these wrestlers, very experienced, very accomplished. Lots of experience.
Trish Leibel won her first senior national title in 1996. She's won it 2 other times as well.
There we saw Trish Leibel going for a hip toss. Tara countered very well and was able to hold her up before Trish hit the mat, so she'll get 1 point for the counter. If Trish had slipped and gone right to the mat, that would have been no points, but Tara would have been allowed to continue in this position.
And Hedigan has that arm right now in a good position as well, trying to turn, but the referee calls them to their feet.
Well, Trish is quite strong, quite flexible, able to counter that move right there. That was very, very smart of Tara to be able to counter that. Good confidence to be able to stand in there right early in the match there and counter that move.
Those athletes that will be attending
Both wrestlers looking for position here.
due to the short delay prior to the match.
Really what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their opponents off balance, get an opening. Here again, Trish goes for another throw. Tara counters it. Trish going for an arm pick there, counters that, gets Tara on her back.
Going for the pin here.
And she's got it!
Whoa. Yes, you heard it. Both shoulders touch just for a moment. And Trish Leibel with a pin is your winner in the 62-kilogram women's freestyle final.
Well, that's how quick it can happen, you know. I mean, again, you're sort of expecting them to take a long time. Those shoulder blades touch. The instant they touch, at the same time, boom, match is over.
So we'll look once again at your champion from the Thunderwolves Wrestling Club, Trish Leibel, 62-kilogram champ, and she's with Karen.
The big move earns the big win for Trish Leibel. Trish, tell us about it.
Tara is a great opponent. She's really strong, and I knew that. And it's one of those things, movement. I had to move, I had to catch her on her mistake. Because we're so evenly matched, I don't know if I could have done it on myself. So it was great, though. It was there, it happened, and I'm pretty excited.
And you're off to New York.
Yeah, oh, it's good. It's just like a dream. It's all good. It all came together.
And next up, 2 competitors hoping that their dreams come true. The 51-kilogram final, Lindsay Belisle, the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club in red. Teresa Pearson from Guelph, she is in blue. Lindsay Belisle, 23 years old, from the Kispiox Valley, just outside of Hazelton, BC. Chris, she is a tough competitor.
Very tough, very strong, very quick. This is a lighter weight class for the women's division. You see lots of quick action, and Lindsay's very experienced.
Lindsay has moved up from 46 to 51 kilograms, and she says now she doesn't need to lose as much weight. Has helped renew her vigor for the sport.
Well, it makes a big difference. You know, it gives them confidence. It gives them more power during the competition sometimes. And here we saw a very nice shot by Lindsay in on the single leg takedown, getting the 1 point.
Trying to hook the arm here.
If nothing's happening after a while, the referees stop the match, start them back on their feet in the original position.
We continue the score 1-0 for Lindsay Belisle. Nice counter here by Pearson.
Here again, Lindsay was in on the single leg takedown. Pearson was countering. The referees decide to give 3 points for blue.
But Belle-Isle countered the counter for 2, so it's 3-3.
The scoring happens really quickly here, and that's like what happened. Blue got 3 points, red got 2 points because they both touched their shoulders to the mat. The blue wrestler initiated the takedown, so they get the 3 points. And again, nothing happens after a while. They start them back on their feet.
The idea being that the referees and the fans and the officials all want constant action.
That's right. They don't want people just wasting time on the ground. They just want to see action. They want to see people scoring points. Here again, Lindsay in on the single leg takedown. Teresa doing a good job of countering.
Lindsay Belle-Isle tells us that her fitness is superb. She is able to wear down an opponent, so the longer this match goes on, you would figure it favors Lindsay Belle-Isle in red.
Well, Lindsay trains very hard. Very good athlete.
There is a passivity call on blue.
And that happens a lot of times when you're the more fit wrestler. You're pushing them more. The other wrestler gets more passivities. Like here, Lindsay decides to put Teresa down. Again, the advantage position going to Lindsay. Just trying to get what's called the leg ride here. Got the ankle, the knee bent. Going for the chicken wing position. She'll try to tilt Teresa over onto her back. Watching the front, she can get her knee over her head and post her over top. The back becomes exposed. 2 points for Lindsay there, but she's still got her in a dangerous position. Still trying to get her over.
Look at her work here.
Well, and this is a really dangerous position for Teresa. Again, Lindsay scores 2 points plus an extra point for the exposure. Run out of time.
Teresa Pearson avoids the pin. We continue here in the second round. 2:15 to go in round number 2.
Well, now what Lindsay's got to do is she's just got to keep the pressure on Teresa. Keep pushing, keep moving forward. Don't make any mistakes.
Nice shoulder throw for Pearson.
Great shoulder throw. She had Lindsay pushing just a little bit. Popped her over for 3 points. Excellent job.
But a great comeback for Teresa Pearson, falls just a bit short. Lindsay Belle-Isle hangs on for an 8-6 win. She is your champion and now is with Karen.
Lindsay Belle-Isle is now the 3-time defending national champion. Lindsay, compare number 3 with the first 2.
Well, I felt a bit more pressure this time just because I was 51 champ last year and I had the hometown and friends and family are watching. So I felt a bit more nervous and like I had to do it for them.
Not exactly the hometown, but I know the folks back in the Kispiox Valley, all 300 of them will be very proud. But I know your mom is here too. Must feel nice to do it in front of her.
Oh yeah, feels really nice. My parents have been supporting me like through this all, and to have somebody who I really love and care about to watch me and to win, it's pretty nice.
Her mom Shirley is indeed proud of Lindsay, champ in the 51 kilogram category. More from SFU after this.
I like the individual nature. I like the fact that you're in there and it's you alone against one person, your opponent, and you have to use your physical, your mental, everything against. It's like any other sport except for the fact it's split second. You have to think fast. I like the contact nature of it. I like that kind of thing. I played football in high school on a small boys team, but it was exciting, and I really like that kind of sport, I guess. I'm known as a power wrestler. I'm not very technical. I use my strength and power and speed against my opponents, and so my takedowns are, well, sort of similar to Daniel's in a sense that he you know, that sudden burst of speed, it's just boom. And so that's kind of my strength in terms of wrestling. And my mental, no matter how far behind, you know, I always believe I can win, so sometimes when I don't, I'm surprised, but that's just, my mental is important as well. It's really enhanced my athletic career. I'm a social worker. I was full-time last year, but because of the karting, now I'm part-time. I work with children with special needs, families with special needs, mental and physical handicaps, and I can totally forget about sport when I'm there. And see, the sector of special needs is not really, it's kind of like wrestling. It's not really that mainstream, and so there's a lot of pain and suffering that these families are going through, and I enjoy when they say to me, you know, you really helped me. That gives me personal satisfaction. And it's funny because you don't get that a lot, and especially in social work, there's such, you know, terrible stories you always hear, but I really love my job, and it's enhanced my wrestling.
Four-time national champion Jennifer Riz in blue in tough today against three-time national champion Erica Sharp of the University of Calgary Women's Wrestling Club in red.
Well, and here we have two of probably the most accomplished Canadian wrestlers other than Christine Nordhagen. Both medaled at the World Championships. Erica had a lower weight class in the past. Both very confident, very strong, very exciting.
This is round two. Riz leads 2 points to 1.
Here Erica's in with a nice ankle pick. She caught Jennifer a little bit off balance, got the angle on her, was able to take advantage of that, and here she'll try to turn her over to her back.
Erica Sharp is a true veteran of this sport. She was on the first team to represent Canada at the World Championships back in 1993. Score is 2-2 here in round 2.
Here we see Jen in on another single leg takedown. Sharp does a great job countering. Jen got a little bit off balance, pops over onto her back, but again, Jennifer Riz comes back to counter the counter, gets the takedown, 4-3.
Riz very quick to respond there. 4-3 Sharp.
Well, Erica was very quick there on the counter. Jennifer Riz got a little bit extended. Erica took advantage of that. Just tilted her over onto her back by lifting her leg over. Very smart move, and ends up still ahead, even though she got lost the takedown.
Late here in round number 2, fatigue starting to play a part.
Well, here Erica gets a little bit off balance. She tried a foot sweep. Didn't connect with Jennifer's foot. Gets in a bit of a tough position here.
No point scored there. 4-3 still for Sharp in red over Riz.
Well, and what I find really exciting about these matches, Bruce, is the level of technical ability is so high now in women's wrestling in Canada. You know, 8 years ago, when we saw these types of matches, you didn't see the same level of technical ability. Really exciting, very good technique, and some of the best technique in the world for women's wrestling.
And there seems to be a real constant flow of action in women's freestyle wrestling.
Well, they're not as tentative as the men, not as defensive. And the matches, yeah, they're a lot more sort of all out, a lot more action, a lot more scoring. It's just great for our sport.
Time ticking down here in round number 2. Jennifer Riz needs a point to tie this. It is 4-3 Erica Sharp. Riz, the defending champ.
And Erica is doing a great job of just continuing the motion, continuing to do what she has to do, doing what worked for her early in the match. A lot of times when you get ahead, you sort of get defensive. Erica's not doing that at all. She's continuing to move forward, continuing to make shots, and that's exactly what she should be doing in this case.
Again, the pressure on Jennifer Riz in blue. She needs the point to tie this up.
Erica in, and again, on another single leg takedown. Jen does a good job countering. Makes a counter attack here, but in a little bit too low. Her head's in a bad position. And this is where all the conditioning, all the work that you did all year pays off.
And it does pay off for Erica Sharp. She holds on for victory and is your champ at the 56-kilogram level. And time now to introduce you to a woman who at age 29 is already a Canadian wrestling legend.
My goal is to, I guess, be not just to win, but to be the best wrestler I can be. And I think it's important to look for people that will challenge you when you're competing, and that's like with training as well. I mean, in the wrestling room, if I wrestle with the girls, I'm one of the biggest girls in the room, and if I wrestle with the girls, I'll be the winner all the time, or most of the time, be the one on top. And then it's important for me to wrestle with some of the guys, senior guys, and they, you know, sometimes beat me up pretty good, but it's a good challenge, and it's about being the best you can be, and that's how you get better, is by finding people that can push you, and it's very satisfying when you go against someone that's better than you, and maybe you get a takedown. And that's, you know, when you come off of practice thinking, wow, I scored on, you know, so-and-so today. Like, I mean, I've only scored once this whole year on him, but I actually took him down. And, you know, you have to look for challenges to keep the sport exciting to you and to make your training fun, I guess. I remember when I first took the wrestling class at university, I was so excited because I'd always enjoyed wrestling as a kid. And then being a phys ed teacher, you know, I thought I better take this class just in case I have to teach wrestling in school. And I never thought I could ever be a world champion at anything. But I remember going to my first Worlds, and that was in '93 in Norway. And Canada sent 3 girls to the Worlds, and I didn't have a clue what to expect when I was there, but my goal was to go and wrestle hard and try to score 1 point. That's what I was going to try to do. And I ended up getting a silver medal that year. But never know unless you try. You know, just go out there, work hard, do your best, and go into it with a positive attitude. Give yourself a chance. I remember my very first World Championship when I won in '94, that feeling, you know, when I pinned the Russian and I remember the referee slapping the mat to show that it's a pin, and I just couldn't believe that, oh my God, I'm actually the best at something in the world. It's just an overwhelming feeling. I mean, the feeling has changed now. I mean, everyone's just, I just wrestled, I found something that I can be good at, and I'm really thankful that I'm able to do this sport. It's a wonderful sport, and if I'm a role model for young people, that's great. I mean, I'm honored that people would look up to me or think that it's really neat when a kid comes up and asks me, well, what do you do to get prepared for your matches? And I'm like, wow, thanks. You know, that you think I'm doing something good, but it's pretty exciting, and I enjoy helping others out.
Christine Nordhagen looking for her 10th national championship today in Burnaby against Shannon Samler from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club. Samler is the defending champ at 68 kilograms. Nordhagen last year competed at 75. She is back down to 68 this year. She says this is her most comfortable weight. We are 30 seconds into round 1. The score is tied at 2.
Beautiful shot by Christine right there on the single leg. Shannon doing a great job of countering, though. No points scored on this shot yet. If Christine can get behind in the control position like she is now, then 1 point is scored.
Chris Nordhagen, a 5-time world champion. There's some exposure there.
It's very tough for Shannon to counter this move because Christine has that arm locked. What Christine did is she tilted Shannon over onto her back. Wasn't going for a pin there, was just going for the back exposure. Scores 2 points.
What makes Nordhagen so great?
Well, you know, so many things. I mean, Christine has it all. She's got a great attitude. She's always trying to get better. She doesn't take things that seriously, doesn't put a lot of pressure on herself. Real student of the game, very strong, very good technique, and just a lot of talent. I mean, she's got everything. Here we see again another great shot. Again, Shannon trying to counter. Christine is very confident in this position. Just takes her time, keeps moving.
Nordhagen says at this point in her career, the idea that women's wrestling could be introduced in time for the 2004 Olympics is her greatest motivation.
Again, no points being scored yet. Christine just about having points scored here on Shannon. Steps over, gets the 1 point takedown. And again, very confident in that position. Very tough to counter against.
You see the score here in round 1, 6-2 for Christine Nordhagen. Move ahead to round number 2, 1:13 to go. It is 9-2 for Nordhagen.
Well, she's just been solid, just continuing to pressure the whole match, taking 1 point at a time when it comes. Here again, gets Shannon on her back. Gets 3 points for this. The referee counting for the exposure.
She's looking for that pin now. That arm is in a bad position.
Even if Shannon gets out here, the match will be over because Christine has more than 10 points spread on Shannon. But like I said earlier, the referee gives them a chance to try to pin their opponent to win by the pin.
Samler does escape, but as you mentioned, 13-2 is the score. Nordhagen on technical superiority, a 10-time national champion. A look at Christine Nordhagen, your champion in the 68-kilogram category. And the 10-time champ is with Karen.
Well, there's so much to talk about with Christine Nordhagen. Christine, but let me take you back to an anniversary. 10 years ago in this gym, women's wrestling was first in the national championship. You won there. You've won every year since. This makes number 10 in a row. How does it feel?
Feels really good, especially since I had gone up a weight class last 2 years and now I'm back down to 68 and had to beat the former national champion, Shannon, who's I knew would be very tough. So I'm really happy to have won this national title.
Of course, you won the World Championships at both weight divisions in 68 before you went up to 75. You won there. You're back down at 68. What are you hoping to prove in New York this year?
Well, I'm hoping to win, obviously, another gold medal, but I haven't been at this lower weight class for a couple of years, so it'll be some new girls to compete against, and that's exciting. I think it's important to always challenge yourself, and really looking forward to the new challenge at the World Championships in New York.
That brings to a close the women's portion of this competition. The men's freestylists are next from Burnaby. Columbia. Set for the men's 58-kilogram freestyle final. Gia Sasori from the Montreal Wrestling Club in red. Saeed Azerbaijani from the Brock Wrestling Club in blue. Sasori, the Olympic silver medalist from 1996 in Atlanta. Chris, we saw him as well in Sydney. He was the victim of really a horrible draw. He was probably the second best wrestler in his category in Sydney, but he was matched up early on against the world champion.
Well, the exact same thing happened at the 99 World Championships. Again, a horrible draw. Really bad luck for Gia. Hopefully he gets a better draw this year. In on a nice single leg position. He's got to get Azerbaijani off balance, try to get him down to the mat. Beautiful.
A lot of history between these two opponents. For years, Sasori would outpoint Azerbaijani, at least by 10. The last time they met, the score was 7-5 for Gia Sasori, so a moral victory for Saeed Azerbaijani.
Bit of controversy there going out of bounds. Some thought it should be 1 point, some thought it should be 3 points. Sometimes it's hard to know if the move started inbounds or out of bounds. If they end up on their backs here, Gia doing a great job getting Azerbaijani over onto his back again. He's going to try to hold him there for 5 seconds to get the extra 1 point exposure.
And one more for exposure for 5 seconds.
Sasori looking good today. The 7-time national champion. He emigrated from the Russian Republic of Georgia in 1992 and settled and currently lives in Montreal.
Gia is very, very technically sound, tons of confidence, tons of experience, and when he's feeling good physically, very formidable opponent to wrestle against.
He's 30 years old. He says he contemplated retirement after the Sydney Olympics, but now says he wants to stay around at least until 2004 and Athens.
Well, and that's great for Canadian wrestling because, like I say, he is such a great wrestler, great ambassador for the sport, quiet, but always very positive about his experiences.
Two very quick and cautious wrestlers here.
One thing too, in a sport where the body suffers so much abuse and punishment, Sasori says his body through the years has been in pretty good shape and continues to be.
Well, one of the things that Gia has going for him, he's a fairly offensive wrestler. A lot of times when you're defensive, you're more prone to injury because you're sitting back more, whereas Gia is a little bit more offensive, and in general, you're going to get a lot less injuries that way. Again, here we see him again on a nice single leg position. He gets in there so nice and tight in such a good position, it's almost impossible to counter from there.
That's his patented high crotch move. 5-0 now, Sasori over Azerbaijani. Saeed came in here with high hopes. He has been training very hard. He thought Sasori today was here for the taking, but Gia has been tough so far. Moved to round number 2. Sasori leading 5-0 over Azerbaijani.
Right, and Gia's just wrestling so well today. Here we saw Saeed going in on a single leg attempt. Gia just did a great job. Strong position to counter. Got a little bit sloppy there. They give Saeed 2 points for the counter. Again, a little bit questionable on that call, but it shouldn't make a difference.
And ultimately it doesn't. Sasori goes on to a 10-2 win over Azerbaijani. Sasori now an 8-time national champion. Set now for the 63-kilogram men's freestyle final. Nazir Lal from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club in red. Mike Francis from Team Impact in blue.
Well, Mike Francis is a really great wrestler, really exciting to watch. Young guy, got a great future. Nazir, a little bit older, a lot more experience, but equally as exciting to watch.
We saw Nazir earlier. He is a solid Greco-Roman wrestler as well. He won that national title at 63 kilograms.
Here we see Nazir attempt. Beautiful high crotch attempt there. Just didn't get in deep enough, didn't commit fully. Francis counterattacking here on double leg takedown. No point scored yet. They've got to get the wrestler into a control position. Here, neither wrestler has total control. Again, no point scored yet. A knee has to touch the mat before a point is scored. Francis trying to get Nazir's knee to touch.
Nazir Lau fighting to keep the knee up.
There Francis gets the point. Going for the exposure. Has the back exposed. The referee counting for the 5 seconds. Don't think he got the 5 seconds for the extra point, but scored a takedown plus a 2-point exposure.
It is 3-0 here for Mike Francis in blue over Nazir Lau in red. Good start for Francis.
Very good start. Very confident in that double leg attempt. Didn't give up. Kept moving, and in the end was rewarded with the takedown, the 2-point exposure, plus the extra point for the 5-second exposure.
Round 2 now. It is 5-1 for Mike Francis over Nazir Lau. Lau trying to mount a late comeback here.
Well, Nazir's just got to take it 1 point at a time. He can't panic about being down 5-1. Francis has got to just keep the pressure on, keep moving forward. Doesn't want to give up any easy points like that. Nazir's pretty dangerous from behind here.
Only 40 seconds left now in round 2. Lau trying to turn him, and he does!
Tilts him for 2, again holding him on his back, trying to get that 5-second exposure. Gets that, gets the 3 points. He can work up to the upper body here to try to go for the pin. Doesn't get that.
A great late second surge here by Nazir Lau.
Well, if Nazir scores 1 more point, he wins the match. Here he's going for the leg ride. The referee stops the match. Francis had taken an injury timeout earlier. He used up his 2 minutes injury, and it looks like the match will be over because of that.
So Nazir Lau, your champion at 63 kilograms because of injury default over Mike Francis. More men's freestyle, including Olympic champion Daniel Agali, still to come from Burnaby. Finest conditioned of all the Canadian wrestlers is Nick Uguala, and here he is up close.
I started wrestling at a late age. I started in grade 12. I was 18 years old. That's not usual in wrestling. Most people start really young, and it takes a while to build a base in wrestling. So now I'm just starting to get the idea of what I'm doing. Before, it was mostly talent, athletic ability. Now I'm starting to understand the sport, and I'm getting this sort of confidence in the sport now, and confidence in my ability to handle the stressful situations involved with the sport. Yeah. In wrestling, when you have control of your own destiny in wrestling, you know, if you prepare well and you pay attention to the little details and you stay disciplined to the tasks necessary to succeed, most of the times you'll get a result, and you usually get a positive result. And if you don't get a positive result from it, you just have to make a few minor changes and you'll get it a little bit later on. So it's the thing that holds the big thing in wrestling is that you can put yourself in and apply certain principles, and you usually see an answer, like almost, if not quickly, then shortly after that. It's important for me to make that team because in a way this year, my friend who died about 4 years ago, Donovan Young, I kind of dedicated a season to him in my mind. You know, just it's a personal thing. So it's important for me to make the team because I feel from the whole experience I got last year of traveling internationally and competing like major international tournaments once every 2 weeks, I gained a lot of experience, I gained a lot of confidence, and I have a lot of belief in my ability to handle myself internationally, to compete and win. And so it's important for me to get through these trials and get myself ready to compete successfully in the World Championships. Yeah, I guess I could say I've benefited. You know, if I'm walking down the street and somebody asks me what I do, and if I tell them I wrestle, they'll say, "You wrestle? Oh, you know Daniel Agali?" So we at least have one person in the sport who's very high profile, who is, you mentioned wrestling, and his name will be on the top of most people's minds. right? So I have benefited from that. You know, I'm very happy for him. I mean, when I was there watching, I was ecstatic when he won. I mean, I jumped up, I was screaming Canada, Canada, just like everybody else from the stands. So, and he's a personal friend of mine, so I was very excited for him.
The men's freestyle 76-kilogram final, Nick Iguala from Burnaby Mountain in blue, Travis Cross, a teammate from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club, in red. Chris, the challenges of wrestling, a guy you know so well.
This happens a lot with Burnaby Mountain wrestlers. There's a lot of depth in the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club. Very tough because you wrestle each other every night in practice. You know each other's styles so well. You know what each other's trying to do. Really tough to score sometimes.
We have joined this match in round number 2. It is 1-0 for Iguala in blue.
Travis has had a great tournament so far, done some great things to make it to the finals. Here Nick is in a scoring position. Referees decide.
And they will award it.
The key is there that the move started in bounds?
The move started in bounds. Nick had control, and as it went out of bounds, Nick exposed Travis's back to the mat. Gets 3 points for that.
3 points.
We should point out that Nick Iguala, 29 years old, originally from Nigeria, is fighting this week. He calls it a bit of a groin injury. I'm sure it's more than a bit.
Well, it's really limiting his movement, making it very tough. Nick is usually a very explosive wrestler with lots of great movement, but he's having a much tougher time this tournament getting that kind of movement, that kind of explosion that he usually has. Here again, we see not much action happening on the ground. The referee starts them back on their feet. Travis has just got to start trying to score 1 point at a time here. You know, nice shot. He's got to keep moving. Beautiful. Great. Made a good shot. Didn't stop. Kept moving. Kept getting around to the side. Scores a point. Very nice.
And Nick was slow to move backwards there, wasn't he?
Well, again, this is where the injury comes into play a bit. Usually he'd be able to move a little bit quicker sideways. Wasn't able to. Travis took advantage of it.
Travis is 1 year old and a junior, showing
Nick Iguala was a sparring partner for the wrestlers in Sydney, Australia, and he said it showed him what it takes to get to that level. And he wants to get there.
Well, and it's a pretty valuable experience, even if you don't actually compete at the Olympics, to go to train with the people competing, to see the competition, to see what's involved. It really does make a big difference.
Just under 20 seconds left. Iguala leading 4-1.
Again, once one of the feet goes out of the bounds, the referee stops the match, starts them back in the center.
Fatigue starting to set in here. Both wrestlers looking for a bit of a breather.
63 kilo men, 51 kilo women, 76 kilo men. Please report to the medal area.
One look at the chiseled physique of Nick Iguala. You wouldn't be surprised to learn that he works as a personal lifestyle trainer and motivator. Phenomenal shape.
And there it is, your national champion.
Final score 4-1. Despite the groin injury, Nick Iguala hangs on to defeat Travis Cross, his teammate from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club. Nick Iguala, your 76-kilogram men's freestyle final champion. He now joins Karen Larson.
Nick Iguala defends his national title, but Nick, you knew it was going to be a tough one when you had to wrestle your teammate.
Absolutely. No, Travis has been wrestling great the whole tournament. I mean, I wrestle with him in practice all the time, so he knows what I do. I know what he does, but you know, he stepped it up a notch. But my experience helped me out today. It wasn't the prettiest match I've had, but it was good.
So you're off to the World Championships. What do you expect from here on into September?
Oh, now, I mean, coming into this tournament, I had a groin injury last week. So to me today was a private victory for me because I competed with an injury, I learned how to deal with it, and I passed the test. So I feel great going into the World Championships. I'm ready for it. This is my time.
The 85-kilogram men's final is next, and here's a look at the defending champion.
Well, it's definitely something that's very fulfilling, being able to go into schools and speak to kids of all ages and hopefully motivate them and encourage them to do positive things in their life and make positive choices. That's just huge. But also for me, you know, every time I speak, I remind myself of things that I need to do to get to where I want to be. It's a lot of fun for me. You said the kids were having fun. I was probably having just as much fun, if not more than they were. So I enjoy being around kids. I enjoy teaching, whether it's wrestling or or personal planning skills, whatever it is, I enjoy doing it. Well, I spent a lot of years, pursuing the Olympics. It's something that a lot of people thought would come to me at an early age, being that I was so young when I won my first senior title, and then I missed in '92 and I missed in '96. And for those reasons, I chose to continue wrestling until 2000, which turned out to be a really great decision for me, because I believe I'm a better wrestler now than I was in '96. And then once I got to Sydney, I realized that the feeling wasn't a whole lot different than '92 or '96. I achieved my goal, and I was very happy for a brief moment, and then it was over, and I was like, okay, what's next? Whereas in '92, '96, I was disappointed that I was what's next. And for me, I felt I could still wrestle better, so that was next for me. I wanted to get one more chance at the World Championships, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's a difficult question for me, because wrestling's been such a big part of my life for so many years, and it's consumed me in a lot of ways. It's been something that I'm very passionate about, and I put a lot of time in. Right now I work with the wrestling team at SFU as assistant coach, and I definitely love to stay involved in coaching after the Olympic Games, or after my retirement, because it's something I love to do, and I feel like I have a lot that I can add. But at the same time, I'd like to explore some different avenues. I have a business degree from Simon Fraser University, and I wouldn't mind testing the field out there and seeing if there's something that I could be passionate about there. I got married in July, and I have a 5-year-old daughter now, and I have another baby on the way in August. So being a good dad is probably pretty high on my priority, if not top, behind being a good husband.
The men's 85-kilogram final features two gentlemen that are very well acquainted. Justin Abdu from Burnaby Mountain, Gary Holmes, the Hamilton Amateur Wrestling Club. And Chris, this is one of the really, truly great rivalries in Canadian wrestling.
Well, these two guys have wrestled in the finals every single year since 1993. And on top of that, they've had probably 15 matches against each other other than those final matches. Every match is close. Almost every match has gone into overtime. Very long, drawn-out matches, a lot of tension, very close matches.
I think it's safe to say that familiarity has bred a little bit of contempt here. Round two, it's 1-0 for Gary Holmes over Justin Abdu. Now 2-0 after that takedown.
Well, here we see Justin. He went and tried to do an inside leg trip, and he didn't get Gary on his heels enough. Didn't get Gary moving back. Got a little bit extended. Gary took advantage of that to score the point.
Chris, we saw that Justin is a member of what is called the Esteem Team in British Columbia. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, the Esteem Team is a role model program that uses athletes to talk to students in schools about things like goal setting, dealing with peer pressure, dealing with failure. We have about 30 athletes involved in the Esteem Team, and Justin is just a great ambassador for that program.
This match has gone to overtime. You might wonder why a match that is 2-0 goes to overtime. Well, in amateur wrestling, a wrestler must score at least 3 points before he or she wins. Neither has scored 3 here, so the first 2-3 in overtime will win this.
Here, Gary in on a single leg takedown. Justin's got to be careful, because if he gets scored on here, the match is over. There's a good counter. He's in on a single leg takedown now, gets the point. Beautiful job.
2-1 now, Gary Holmes. Again, first wrestler to 3 will win this. If it is tied at 2 at the end of overtime, the judges will decide.
They're very tired. The match has gone on a long time. The emphasis is on action, right? And scoring. That's why you have to score 3 points during regulation time. Here again, the score is 2-1. If Gary scores 1 point, the match is over. If Justin scores 2 points, the match is over. Both wrestlers have to be really careful here.
These two again know each other so well.
Here Justin continuing to pressure Gary. Gary steps out of bounds. The referees award 1 point for Justin and a caution for Gary. Again, you've always got to be active. Gary has more passivity calls than Justin. If the match ends in a tie at the end of the 3-minute overtime period, the wrestler with the least amount of passivity calls would win the match.
In other words, aggression will be rewarded.
That's right. If both wrestlers are tied, whoever's most aggressive wins the match based on passivity calls. Here, Justin's going for a gut wrench. Really tough to do at this stage of the match.
And as time ticks away, the judges award this to Justin Abdu on the basis of a more aggressive approach. Your champion at 85 kilograms. Up next, for the first time in 6 months, Daniel Agali returns to competition. That is next.
Much hassle. You can answer, yeah, it's Daniel Agali calling on the phone. Well, they will let you through to speak to somebody right away, kind of thing. In that sense, it's been great. Also, in terms of competition, with the help of my sponsor Cheerios, I'm able to compete without worrying about having a part-time job. So that has afforded me the opportunity to compete totally without worrying about other things. Well, it was one of the funnest times I've ever had in my life, actually. One of them would be coming back from the Olympics at the airport was a big deal, and I got the same kind of reception when I went back to Nigeria. So that was great. I was treated like royalty. I was treated like a king, and it was good to finally get that acceptance, you know, because earlier they kind of thought that I decamped, you know, I kind of ditched them for Canada, and now they know that, you know, we have reason to celebrate too. He's kind of Nigerian still, so I finally got that feeling of acceptance, which was a good thing. Well, my body is almost breaking up now. I'm an old man at 27, and it's inevitable. Retirement will come soon, but I've not really thought about what I'm going to do specifically. I intend to kind of buy some more time by going back for a master's. That would take me a couple more years to make up my time. I'm interested in international relations, so I'll see how that goes. But I intend to kind of work with kids somehow and be involved in sports. I'm not specific about what I want to do yet, but generally that's what I intend on doing after I'm done wrestling. That's another 3 years from now, maybe basically 4 years, and that's a long time. If I started a family this year, I might have grandkids before that. It's a long-term goal. I would not be completely disappointed if I didn't have another Olympics, because I'm content, I'm satisfied with what I have. But I would be happy to get another one under my belt, and not just go, but make a good impression too.
He is looking to make an impression here today in his home gymnasium. Zoltan Hunyadi is the competition from the Guelph Wrestling Club in blue. How do you stop the Agali Express?
Well, you know, it's pretty tough. Daniel's in not the greatest shape he's been in, but he's still a pretty formidable guy to wrestle against. Very tough opponent.
As we said, he hasn't been on a mat. Actually, he's been on a mat, but hasn't competed officially in 6 months. So he could be a bit rusty.
He was ready to go. They were going to go to a tournament in Cuba. Hurt his knee just beforehand. Wasn't able to go to that competition. And since then, he's getting back in shape. Looking good in this tournament. Nice little shuck by here on Zoltan. Gets a takedown. 2-point tilt there. And that's what he's got to do. He's got to turn people as he takes them down. I don't know if you remember from the Olympics. A lot of times he took people down, didn't turn them right away. He had the opportunity and didn't quite take advantage of it. Here he took advantage of it and makes a big difference in the whole scheme of things.
What he says he's looking for at this tournament is to see how he bounces back after a layoff like 6 months. And so far, so good.
This competition is Daniel's first.
Unfortunately, the depth of this weight category isn't what it used to be. Daniel doesn't have the toughest competition in Canada at this weight category, and we see that in the final here. Zoltan's a great wrestler, has been around for a lot of years, but just doesn't compare to Daniel.
4-0 Daniel here in round number 1. He wrestled for Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games in 1994, finished 13th.
Here again, nice position on double leg takedown. He's so strong there. Zoltan did a good job of countering initially. Here Daniel's going for the fall again.
And he's got it. Just 43 seconds into this match, Daniel Agali from the Burnaby Mountain Wrestling Club, the world and Olympic champ, is again Canadian champion. Canada's male amateur athlete of the year, making it look easy here. A win over Zoltan Hunyadi from the Guelph Wrestling Club. Agali, your champion at 69 kilograms, and he's now standing by to talk to Karen.
Well, Daniel, I guess if there were any questions about you being rusty, about the fact that you hadn't been on a competitive wrestling mat since the Olympics, that was the answer.
I guess so, but I'm still not quite confident yet, because I don't know the kind of position I had out here. But I'm quite satisfied with the way the season has started. I hope it leads to better things at the Worlds.
It's one thing to become the world champion, which you are. It's another thing to defend your title. Have you thought about that heading back to New York?
I hadn't till now, because I wanted to take care of the Nationals. But hopefully, I'll take care of it when September comes around.
Can you talk about what the advantage is over your competitors in being the reigning Olympic champion?
No respect for anybody, you know. Everybody's coming out to knock you off, and I just have to go out and do what I know how to do best, and hopefully have a good tournament and come back on top.
We're talking about 4 months till you go to New York, till you'll be wrestling in Madison Square Garden. What do you do from here till then to prepare?
From here to September, I intend to go to about 3 tournaments in Europe, one in Canada, the Canada Cup in June, and I think I'll be ready after those 4 tournaments.
Chris, over the past 90 minutes, we have seen the best amateur wrestlers in this country. What is your assessment of Team Canada 2001?
Well, our women are extremely strong. We saw lots of great action, very good technical skills, and that's what you expect from world medalists. The men, the top guys were extremely strong. Not as much depth as I'd like to see, but that's quite common in a non-Olympic year.
Off the top, we mentioned that many people were here to see Daniel Agali. They didn't see him for long, but he didn't disappoint.
Daniel was very dominant in his final match. Not in great shape yet, but he's got 4 months to prepare for the World Championships. I think he'll do it, and I think he'll be ready to defend his title.
All right, Chris, as usual, great analysis. A pleasure working with you. And we'll see you again, hopefully, very soon. For her final thoughts, we send it down to Karen Larson.
Well, Bruce, Chris mentioned the Canadian women, what a great show they put on here. You know, they would dearly love to see women's wrestling make it into the Olympics.